Hello, welcome back to my channel. Alright, so it's been a couple months since my last video that I just uploaded, which is my first video. So thank you for everyone who watched that. Today, I am going to do a get ready with me, but also a get to know me kind of video. I thought it would be a good idea just to introduce myself, kind of give you all a little bit of a background of where I come from, what my story is, and just get to know each other. I'm gonna do my makeup and I'm gonna talk to you all a little bit about myself and my story. And yeah, if you are here again, thank you so much for coming back, and let's get started with the video. Okay, so first things first, I am going to prime my face, and I am going to use this e.l.f. Dew Primer Jelly Pop. So a little bit about myself. My name is Alina, and I am 27 years old. I am from Texas, so I was born in El Paso, Texas, but I was raised in Juarez. Now, if you don't know, El Paso is a border town, so it's a border city. So the border of El Paso is actually Ciudad Juarez, Chihuahua, which is Mexico. So I was born in El Paso, but I was actually raised in Juarez, so in Mexico. I lived in Mexico for 18 years. I went to school in Mexico all up until high school. Spanish was my first language. Growing up in a border city, it was a lot of fun. It taught me a lot of things, and I love it. I love the fact that I can say that I was born in El Paso, Texas, but I was raised in Mexico. I went to elementary. I have to think about this. Elementary, junior high, and part of high school. I went to school in Mexico. So, like I mentioned, Spanish was my first language. That's the first language I spoke. I did speak English. My mom always made sure that we had English in our vocabulary. She was actually born in El Paso as well, and she was actually raised in El Paso. And my dad was actually born in Mexico, in Chihuahua. And both of my parents met and they got married, and they had me and my brother. And my mom always made sure that she talked to us in English because she wanted us to have that bilingual background, just because me and my brother wanted to go to school in the United States. So they both knew that if we knew English and Spanish, it would be beneficial for both of us. So they really made sure that yes, we spoke a lot of Spanish, but my mom made sure that I would watch TV shows in English, that I would watch, read in English, that I would learn things in English, read books in English. And really, for the most part of for the majority of my childhood, I read books in English, I watched movies in English, and I just really enjoyed doing those things. So as I grew up, like I said, both my family, my mom's side of the family and my dad's side of the family, they all spoke both English and Spanish to me and my brother. My mom mostly, you know, like I said, it was mostly Spanish, but I also spoke some English with my sides of the family. And it was, when growing up, I would think mostly in Spanish and I would translate it to English. Now that I'm older and I live in the United States, I do the opposite. So I actually think more in English and I translate to Spanish. I still speak Spanish every day. I read Spanish, I write Spanish. I speak Spanish to my family every day, to my mom and my dad, to my family. My grandma, I still speak Spanish. So Spanish is still very, I haven't forgotten it at all, really. But now that I live in the United States and I work in an environment where I have to speak English for the most part, that kind of changed for me. So like I said, I think a lot more in English, and I have to translate in Spanish sometimes, but like I said, I still am very fluent in reading, writing, and speaking Spanish. Going to school in Mexico is very different than growing up and going to school in the United States. The things that they teach you in Mexico and the things they teach you here in the United States are very, very different. Very different. Being born in El Paso and Juarez, you're kind of part of, I don't want to say group, but you're part of this culture that is just, it's so unique. It's so unique, and it might be in other border cities as well. My last year of high school, my dad actually decided that he wanted me to graduate from a school in the United States. Now, at first, I didn't really understand why, but now that I'm older, now that I realize why he did that, it's because courses and credits transfer from Mexico over to a school in the United States. They don't transfer. Courses are very different, like I mentioned. Things are taught very differently, and credits don't transfer like that when you're coming from a school in Mexico and you're moving to a school in the United States. So for both me and my brother, what he did is the last year of high school, he actually transitioned us into a high school in the United States. That was a big change, especially because your last year of high school, your senior year of high school, it's kind of like a farewell to those 4 years that you were in school, and you have made friends with all these people, and you have become very close to, you know, your friends, and just you're having a good time. So basically your senior year is just, you know, like a farewell, and it's just saying goodbye to that stage in life. Well, moving my senior year of high school into another school was a little hard for me, just because I've been with, you know, my friends for some of them since elementary school, and I actually didn't get to graduate with them. I didn't get to walk the stage with them. I didn't get to experience that senior year with them. You know, I did my own thing with this new school, so it was a little hard to adapt to. But again, I wasn't moving like really far. I was just going to a school in El Paso. It's literally, you cross a bridge and I was there. So I still got to hang out with a lot of my friends that I grew up with in high school, but it was just that fact that I didn't get to walk the stage with them, and I didn't get to graduate with them. And then I remember they, you know, they did like a trip, like a graduating trip. So I didn't get to do that either with them because I was still in school, and I believe that whenever that trip happened, I was still doing finals. So I didn't get to go, which was it was sad, but I was okay with it. I feel like I can adapt to change, and that was a big change, but I adapt to it. By the way, I used the L'Oreal Infallible 24-Hour Wear Foundation, and I mixed it with the Maybelline Superstay Foundation. This one is a little bit dark for me, so I just mixed in the Superstay because it's lighter. So I just mixed those two great foundations. I love how they look on my skin. And for today's look, I'm just going for an everyday look, a look that I would do if I went to, you know, for a just everyday kind of look that I would wear for work. This is what I do, and this is what I would wear. I am not a beauty guru. I don't know much about makeup. I have fun with makeup. I think makeup is so fun, and you can really do a lot of things and make it your own. So if you came here for a tutorial, that's not me. I'm not an expert on makeup. I just have fun with makeup. So yeah. But anyway, so now we're moving on to concealer, and for concealer I'm going to be using this Shape Tape. So again, I moved to my senior year of high school to a high school in El Paso, and that was a very challenging thing to do. I remember my mom and I went to the high school in El Paso, and it took us weeks, literally weeks. It took us weeks to not only try to transfer my credits, but it took us weeks to make sure that I was transferring to the correct grade. Now, what that means is, since a lot of my credits didn't want to transfer, because again, I was coming from a school from Mexico, they actually wanted for me to repeat a grade. They wanted me to start as a junior, and my dad was like, yeah, you're not doing that. You are qualified to go, to be a senior. You have the credits. So my mom and I remember we went there almost every day, and we talked to counselors, and we talked to, I believe, the principal. We talked to so many people, and basically my mom was like, my daughter's not gonna repeat a grade. Like, no, that's not what we're gonna do. So after a lot of talking and a lot of discussion, they allowed me to, I can't remember if I took a test or what did I do to kind of prove that I was senior level, or I guess I was, I was okay to be a senior. I can't remember what really happened, but basically they said okay. They were like, you know what, I guess they were tired of my mom just going up there and fighting, but basically they said, you know what, she's gonna be a senior. So I ended up being a senior. I started school in El Paso, and again, I didn't know anyone. Although it was in El Paso, there was a lot of Mexicans. There was a lot of people from Juarez. So yeah, I mean, I knew some people here and there, but it wasn't like my friends. My friends, none of them transferred, none of them went over there. Everyone stayed in Juarez. So I made friends. I survived. I graduated I graduated high school. And yeah, I graduated from high school in the United States. Well, after that, I remember, well, of course, you graduated high school, and the next step is going to college. I will be using, I recently bought this, and I actually really like it. This is the Rare Beauty blush in Hope. So I'm gonna, before I apply any powder or anything like that, I'm gonna apply this. So once I graduated high school, I was about to graduate high school. They start talking to you about college, and they say you need to figure out where you want to go, and you need to figure out what you want to do with college, and basically, they just want to make sure that you are applying to colleges. So at the beginning, I didn't really know where I wanted to do. I didn't know where I wanted to go. I know I wanted to do something with fashion. I love fashion. I've always loved fashion. I've always loved makeup. Ever since I was a little girl, I would steal my aunt's lipsticks, and I would love to wear a red lip. I would love to wear red lipstick. You can still ask her to this day. She would get so angry at me. But I loved fashion, and I loved clothes, and I loved high heels, and I just loved makeup. So I knew I wanted to do something with fashion. I started researching, and I was like, I didn't want to do design because I am creative, but I am not creative in the way that fashion designers are. That's like a totally different type of creative. So I was like, what can I do? And I've always been kind of like a business side kind of person. I like math, I like doing things, but I also like the visual part of it. I like doing all that. So anyway, when my dad asked me what I wanted to do, because I was about to graduate, I said, I don't really know. Well, I knew that I wanted to be independent I knew that I wanted to leave El Paso because El Paso didn't really offer any courses for fashion. So I started researching, and of course, if you want to do something with fashion, it's like you have to go to LA, or you have to go to New York or Europe. So when I told my dad that, he said, yeah, you never lived alone. I am not sending you to LA. I'm not sending you to New York alone, and I am definitely not sending you to Europe alone. So what he wanted me to do was for me to get a little bit more independent. So what he did, and he made this deal with me, because my brother is older than me, he is 2 years older than me. So whenever I graduated high school, my brother was already in college. So this was his second year of college. So he was living in Las Vegas. That's where he wanted to go. That's where he went. So he made a deal with me. My dad told me, he said, if you go and live with your brother for a year, just so you can kind of get a feel of living on your own and kind of get, you know, yourself situated and kind of understand what it is to be independent and really on your own without your parents, then I will, after that, he goes like, you can go anywhere you want to, you can do whatever you want, you can be independent, you can go live alone. He's like, I just want you to, you know, live with your brother for a year. And I was like, okay. So I researched schools in Las Vegas, and I actually ended up going to the same school that my brother was at, and they had a fashion program. So I went there, I applied, I got accepted, and literally within a couple of weeks, my dad was packing my bags and I was on my way to Las Vegas to live with my brother. My mom was devastated because she didn't even have a chance to say goodbye to me. She didn't have a chance to like enjoy, I don't know, our times together after high school. I literally was like, my dad was like, pack your bags, you're going to Vegas. So I went, I packed my bags. My mom drove me to Las Vegas, and my brother we got a new apartment. We got a 2-bedroom apartment, and we ended up living together. Me and my brother, I ended up living with my brother for a full year. I went to college, and I actually got myself a job when I was in Vegas. I got myself a job at a little boutique. So I was there for a year. Now, Vegas wasn't for me. I was 18 when I moved there. I wasn't the legal drinking age. I didn't really have friends. And once I started making friends, it was just not the vibe for me. I just didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I would. I didn't enjoy it. So a year passed, and I had gotten really good grades. I entered a fashion program at the college that I was at over there, and I really enjoyed my classes. I enjoyed fashion so much. I learned about fashion history. I did design. I did a little bit of everything. I did math. I did merchandising. I did so much, and I really enjoyed my classes. So I said, okay, well, I want to do fashion. I want to continue pursuing this degree, but I just don't want to live in Vegas anymore. By the way, I'm using the Airspun loose face powder to set my face. So I ended up just telling my dad, I was like, you know what, Dad? I was like, you told me to be here for a year. I was here for a year. It's really not for me. I don't want to be here anymore. So he's like, okay. So he's like, what do you want to do? Well, I still didn't know where I wanted to go. I still didn't know where I could finish my career. So I ended up deciding to go back to El Paso and do my basic courses. So like the basic courses that you have to take in order to graduate. And I said, you know what? Let me go back to El Paso. I'll do my basic courses, and then once I'll give myself a year to figure out what I want to do or where I want to go. So I ended up doing that. I went back home, and once you live on your own and then you go back to living with your parents, I don't know if this is for everyone, but for me, I just didn't like it. So one of my friends, actually, she's still my friend, told me, I want to move to Dallas. So she's like, why don't you move with me? And I was like, huh. Dallas. And I was like, okay. So I started looking into colleges in Dallas, and I told my dad, and I said, Dad, I was like, I think I want to go to Dallas. And he's like, okay, well, find a college, find if they have your program, and basically just research, do your research, apply, you know, and then we'll go from there. And I was like, okay. Ended up doing that, and I found a college. It was a very small college, and I told my dad about it, and my dad was like, you know what, okay. He's like, before you decide anything, he's like, go out there, look at it, go visit the campus and see if you really do like it, if it's something that you want to do, if it's where you want to be. And I was like, okay. So I came, I visited the campus. It was a very small campus, but I actually really liked it. And they only had a couple of degrees that they offer, and one of them that they specialized was fashion. So I was like, this is perfect. So I loved it. I applied, I got accepted, and I moved here with my friend, and we moved here by ourselves. And we ended up renting a apartment together. And yeah, my mom was like, okay. He's like, this is what you want to do, that's fine. So I moved in with my friend, and I moved here in 2014 with her. So I moved in 2014 to the DFW area, and then I started college. Oh, and then when I was in El Paso, I had actually found a job as well. I was working at the outlet mall for El Paso at Michael Kors. So I was working there. I had found a job there, and when I decided to move over here, I remember going to my general manager, and I said, hey, just wondering, it's like, do you think that I could get transferred to another store that's also an outlet, but in the DFW area? I'm going to school in Dallas, but you know, if there's something out there, something close, then I would see if I could get transferred. And she was like, yeah, let me check. So there was actually an opening for they were actually hiring at one of these outlet mall stores over here, and they were like, yeah, we'll take her. And I was like, great. So it kind of all worked out. It worked out perfectly. So I was like, great, I'm getting transferred over there, I'm going to college, it's all working out, it's all meant to be. So for my brows, I use the NYX brow glue. I love this stuff. So then I moved out here, I started working, and I started my college here, and I said, I want to finish college. Like, I want to finish college here. Well, when I moved here, I just loved the Dallas area. I just love that. I love that although it's a big city, you have so many surrounding cities around the area. You have Fort Worth, you have Dallas, and then you have all the cities in between and outside of that. So there is so much to do here. So that's what I loved. Me and my friend would always try to explore new areas, and we would always try to have fun together and do different things. And like I mentioned, I just loved school. I really enjoyed school. I knew that I was following my career path and what I wanted to do because I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed going to school. I enjoyed learning about fashion, and I like the fact that in the school that I went to here in Dallas, basically the degrees that they had, like I said, it was not only fashion merchandising, which is what I was into. They also did fashion design, so you did a little bit of everything. When you go to fashion, well, the school that I went to, you do a little bit of everything. You do design, you do merchandising, you get to know the history of fashion, you get to know the business side, the merchandise side, the marketing side. So I really like that they gave you a variety of things that you could learn. So I really had fun. So anyway, so I enjoyed it. I ended up staying here. I ended up, loving it here, loving what I did. Well, A few months after me and my friend moved here, she decided to move back to El Paso. And she told me, you know, that it wasn't working out for her, so she decided to move back. So I actually had to decide, and my dad said, you have to, you know, tell me what you want to do. By the way, I'm using the butter bronzer from Physicians Formula. So my dad was like, what do you want to do? So like, I want to stay here. Like, I love this area. I love my school. I love my work. Like, I just love it here. So my dad was like, okay. So I ended up finding an apartment, and this was the first time I was actually gonna live alone. So it was a little nerve-wracking, but like I said, I don't mind change. I adapt to change well, I would say, and I actually like a challenge. So I ended up finding an apartment of my own, and I moved to my own first apartment by myself, and I was actually living by myself. And it was actually very enjoyable. I loved it. I loved living by myself. I loved being independent. I just loved it, and I loved the area I moved in. I started making more friends at work. I started going out more. I started having a lot more fun. So then I stayed living alone for a while, and then I graduated with my associate's degree in fashion marketing. And then a year later, I got my bachelor's degree in fashion merchandising. And after I graduated with my bachelor's degree, I wanted to graduate with my master's degree, so I actually have a master's in business administration. So I kind of tied everything into business. That way, my goal is to one day either open my own business, my own fashion business, or do something with fashion, with clothes. If it's in God's will and it's in God's path, I'm just asking him and praying for him to guide me through the right path. But I just love fashion. I love it, and I love the fact that you can do so much with fashion. You can really be yourself with fashion and makeup, and just really, you know, you can really show someone's personality with the way they dress. So fashion is, I feel like fashion is for everyone. You know, everyone has their own style. So I just love fashion. I love accessorizing. I love all that stuff. So yeah, that's really how I ended up being here. I've been here since 2014. So it's gonna be 8 years. 8 years since I've moved here. And I would never go back. I always get asked this question by my family, and they always ask me, do you want to move back to El Paso? Do you want to come back here? And I'm like, nope. Really, I've found my home. And yeah, interestingly enough, the store that they transferred me to from El Paso to here, when I first moved here, that's where I met my husband. So I'm using, by the way, I'm using a little bit more blush, the Luminoso Milani. But yeah, that's where I met my husband. I met my husband at that store, and I always say that it's meant to be. It was in God's plan for me to go to that store, because I could have been transferred to any other store, but no, I was transferred to that store. And that's where I met my husband, and we've been dating since 2015. So yeah, when I first moved here, I went to that store, and he was actually already working there. So interestingly enough, I didn't date him for a year of working there. And I am using, I think this is discontinued, but this is from Physicians Formula. I don't know what it's called, but it's this block, and it has like all these shimmers. I love this. But I'm gonna use this to highlight a little bit of my high points. So anyway, but yeah, I moved here. I met my husband. We fell in love. We dated for 4 years. 2015. Yeah, 2015. Yes, 4 years. And got engaged in 2019. Got married in 2020. And now we're pregnant with our first baby here. We got pregnant in 2021. So it's always meant to be. If it's in God's plan, and it was in God's plan for me to come here and fall in love and build a family, I don't see myself going anywhere else. I love Dallas. I love the Dallas area. I love just everything about it, that there is so much variety here. So that's a little bit of my background story. Okay, so for the eyes, since I'm going from a more, like I said, look that I would do every day, I'm going to grab this Too Faced chocolate, I believe this is a bronzer. Yes, it's a bronzer. It's a medium deep. This is a little bit too deep for my face, so I kind of use it as a eyeshadow. So I'm going to grab a little bit of this, and I'm just going to put it on my eyelid, and I'm gonna just kind of give my eyes a little bit of dimension. Again, I don't know anything about makeup. I just really enjoy makeup. I enjoy what makeup does to your face. It transforms your face. I just love makeup in general. I don't think there's a rule to how you put, you know, makeup on your face. Whatever works for you might not work for everyone. I definitely watch YouTube videos. I definitely watch people put makeup on, and I do like some tips and tricks I do follow from people that I watch, but sometimes they don't work for me. So again, I don't think makeup has any rules. Same things with clothing. Clothing to me is so personal, and it's so much fun. It's so much fun to play with clothes. My goal and my dream is to have a big closet to where I can have so many shoes, so many clothes, and just so many accessories. And yeah, that's basically my story. That's how I ended up here, and I wouldn't change anything. You know, again, God allowed me to be here, and this was his path for me, and I pray that he guides me to the next chapter in my life and allows me to keep being healthy and being a good person. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and finish my eyes. So what I'm basically gonna do is I'm just gonna curl my eyelashes, put a little mascara, and I am going to apply some false eyelashes, and I will be right back. Okay, I'm back. So I ended up just curling my eyelashes. I used the Rare Beauty mascara, just a slight coat to cut my eyelashes. And my trick is I'm not good with putting fake eyelashes on. It takes me forever. So one thing that has been working for me is magnetic eyelashes, and I use what are these? These are the magnetic naked lashes from Ardell, and the ones I'm wearing are 421, and it comes with well, these ones don't, but some of them, and you can buy this individually, I believe. I'm not sure, but this is just a magnetic eyeliner that comes with the lashes, and you just apply the magnetic eyeliner. I put around 2 coats of the magnetic eyeliner, and then the eyelashes just stick to it. And it's been a trick that I've been using for a couple of months now, and I just love it because it's so easy, and then you just take them off real quick, and then you just take your makeup off. So really been enjoying that. And then last but not least is to set my makeup, and I have been loving this. This is the Milk Hydro Grip Set and Refresh Spray. I saw this on TikTok, I believe it was, and they said that this is a very good setting spray to keep your makeup on, and I can vouch for that. It really has kept my makeup on even when I go out or I'm at work and I'm wearing a mask. It really makes my makeup stay longer on my face. So really been enjoying this. So I'm just gonna shake it and spray some on my face. All right, and that is it. That is my everyday makeup routine, and I hope you all enjoyed it. For lips, I really just put some chapstick on, especially if I'm gonna be wearing a mask nowadays. I truly don't try to mess around with lipstick. Now if I'm gonna do like a ballet event or something like that, then I will put lipstick on, but just for the sake of this video, I'm just gonna put some chapstick on. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and got to know me a little bit better, got to know my background, got to know where I came from, and how I ended up being here in Dallas and married and just having my first baby. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please don't forget to like this video and comment down below. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I will see you all in my next video.